The Blue Zone New York Giants podcast. I'm your host, Atticus Davis, just doing a quick analysis of the game last night between the New York Football Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Once again, the New York Giants have lost to the Cowboys. This is now their seventh loss in a row to this team. It's something that I expected to happen, although I was very hopeful that the Giants would pull out a victory last night. Dak Prescott looked really good. He completed at a high rate, 81.5%. He threw for 221 yards, two TDs. He had a QBR of 125.5. That tells me that there was just not enough pressure on the quarterback. He had all day to throw the ball. Every now and then the Giants got a little bit of pressure on him, but it just simply wasn't enough. When you're producing stats like that, that means you've got plenty of time to scan the field to find the open guy and get the ball out. There were maybe two times, maybe three times that I saw Dak had to vacate the pocket, and he's pretty effective at throwing the ball on the run, so he was able to do that also. The running game for Dallas Cowboys was much more efficient than it has been. They averaged 3.5 yards a carry. They got 80 yards on the ground, and CeeDee Lamb just had a field day. I mean, this guy had 98 receiving yards, touchdown. He had a long pass where Tay Banks just got completely burnt for 55 yards, and Tyler Nubin was way out of position, couldn't make the tackle to clean it up on the back end, and that resulted in a really long touchdown play. Otherwise, I thought the Giants did a decent job, decent enough to win, and they absolutely could have won this game. They just did not make enough plays. The special teams, once again, we had another fumble. Thank God there was another Giant player in just behind, I think it was Tyrone Tracy Jr. who committed that fumble. But there was another player in the vicinity for the Giants who was able to recover that fumble, so it didn't turn into an instant disaster. But I want to talk about the Giants' offense for a minute. You know, Daniel Jones, 72.5 completion percentage. He played a very efficient game. Again, no shots down the field except for near the end of the game where he threw that pick, which was really a garbage play. It doesn't even matter. But he had a pretty efficient game, but it's hard when you're playing catch up. The Giants had 5 scoring drives, each of which resulted in field goals. You're not going to win games unless you're obviously the Washington Commanders if you can only kick field goals. And then defensively, they couldn't stop the run when they needed to. Offensively, we couldn't get the run going. The Giants established a putrid 1.1 yards per carry. It was absolutely disgusting. They could get nothing done on the ground. So while the offensive line did a great job in pass pro, they did a terrible job in opening up rushing lanes, and the Giants had nowhere to run the ball. They did not look good at all with the running game. It looked like, oh my God, why did we give up Saquon Barkley? But honestly, the way that the Dallas Cowboys defense was set up yesterday and how they played, kudos to them. I don't even know that Saquon Barkley would have made a difference the way that they were playing last night. Lots of injuries. Neighbors did what Neighbors does. He had 12 receptions, 115 yards, very efficient game. Wan'Dale Robinson, I've been saying this all year. He is going to be a problem for a lot of defenses. He just gets underneath those crossing patterns, and he's very effective at breaking the first tackle and picking up the first down and moving the chains when he needs to. But again, very efficient game. No shots again to Jalen Hyatt, except, like I said, that last play of the game. We really need to get him more involved. Greg Joseph, our kicker, kudos to him. He scored all of the Giants' points yesterday. Very happy with that. But not enough sacks, not enough pressures. Kayvon recorded one, but we need to see more. One other thing I want to mention that it's just been bothering me. Every week we look for a reason why the Giants lost, those weeks where we lose. And obviously we've been losing more weeks than we've been winning. So we look at the film, We analyzed the game, and who was it? Was it Jones? Did he play like shit? Was it our running game? Was it the offensive line? Was it the defense? Was it the offensive play calling? What was it? Turnovers? Like, what was the problem? And who do we want to point the finger out who has caused us to lose this game? And quite frankly, that has changed from week to week. But the one constant that has been an issue has been a play of Tay Banks. Tay Banks is not a CB1 in my book. I'm not saying Tay Banks is a problem. I'm not saying he's not going to develop into a very good corner in this league, but he is not a CB1. He certainly is in the shutdown corner. His man skills are horrible in coverage. He's either pressing too close or he's back too far, but his overall idea of where he needs to be positioned on the field, whether he's on the outside, he's using the trail technique, whether he's playing on the inside, whether he's bumping his man at the line, whether he's playing off to prevent the player from streaking down the field and getting behind him. He just doesn't seem to know where he needs to be positioned before the play even starts. And as a result of that, these receivers and quarterbacks are picking him apart. He loves to play on the number one option for whatever offense we're playing. And that's great that you feel like you're good enough to do that, but you're not doing it. You're not doing it effectively. Whenever they need a big play, the opposing team, whenever they need a first down, whenever they're in a 3rd and 14 situation, whenever they want to do a corner fade in the end zone, wherever they want to do a crossing route, and you're in a trail technique and you just need to be underneath to stop, to tip the pass, he fails. And it's just so frustrating to watch this guy who we all know is very talented, but he gets burned week after week after week. Part of it I'm going to say is on coaching. Part of it I'm going to say is that the defensive line is not getting enough pressure, because part of what we're asking Tay Banks to do is cover receivers for a little bit longer than we need him to, than normally you would need one to, because these quarterbacks are just having too much time in the backfield. That's evidenced by the fact that, like I said, Dak Prescott had almost an 82% completion percentage last night. Where was the pressure? Particularly at home, and that crowd looked like it was pretty energized, like they were really excited about this game. Granted, I didn't think the Giants would win this game, but Tay Banks has continued to be, in my opinion, a problem. He has not been very effective, particularly in man coverage. In zone, when he has some help, he's a little bit better, but overall, he has not been good. Now, the secondary has its own issues as a group, as a unit, right? We still haven't figured out our CB2. Drew Phillips has been out. Dory Jackson, who they brought back in near the beginning of the season, has been out. Both of these guys dealing with calf injuries. From what I understand, these calf injuries last a long time, or they could anyway. But I'll tell you, Tay Banks is starting to remind me of Eli Apple, but a little bit better. And God, I hate to say that, because I hated Eli Apple probably from the 5th week of his rookie season on. I just felt like he was trash. And Tay Banks is starting to make me feel like that about him. You know, Darnay Holmes used to make me feel that way about him. I thought that if you want a first down, throw it to whoever Darnay Holmes is covering. And sure enough, when the opposing team did that, they were able to score first down, get a first down, or score a touchdown or whatever. But Darnay Holmes got a lot better. He got a lot better. And I think that Tay Banks can get a lot better too, because he has become that in this defensive scheme. And honestly, I think that teams aren't afraid of Tay Banks. In fact, they look forward to throwing to whoever Tay Banks is covering, because it's usually their number one, and they don't have fear that it's going to be an interception or a pass breakup. They're comfortable throwing to who he's covering. So that's my real quick analysis. I thought the Giants played overall a much better game. They looked efficient. They were able to move the ball. The refs were out of control. I don't know what they were looking at when they called a face mask on Bellinger, when Bellinger was the one who had his face mask grabbed. Drive killing penalty. And I can't even say that the Giants would have scored a touchdown there, because on their other 4 scoring drives, they weren't able to do it either. But that was disappointing when that happened. And just too many penalties yesterday. Even though the Giants, I think they only had 5 penalties accepted against them, they probably committed about 10. Dallas had well over a dozen penalties called on them, and they probably had a dozen accepted. So really sloppy game. Like the effort, but there's no moral victories in football. I want to see the Giants win some games. It would have been nice to get a victory tonight. They've got 10 days off before they have to face the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Not really sure what to think of that game, since Malik Neighbors left with a concussion. I'm thinking due to how long he has to clear the protocols, he'll be okay to play in that game. And I think that overall we escaped the game with not too many injuries to be concerned of. Obviously, some players got banged up a little bit, but the normal stuff that you expect to see in a competitive game like they played last night. So that's my quick analysis. Looking forward to hearing and looking at the All-22 and seeing what happened on some of these plays and why we weren't able to score touchdowns and we had to kick field goals. But another loss for the New York Giants. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click that notification bell so you can get alerted whenever we drop new videos. And we're going to see you guys again real soon. Go Big Blue.